be an illusion cast by the dimension spell. If it was a torch or glow bulb, it probably meant that Clothahump had caught his famulus in the chemicals again and was chasing him around the tree. He said as much to Talea without turning to face her. If he saw her sitting there naked on the bed, he wouldn't be able to concentrate on anything else. They had been living together for several months, time enough to discover that she was as adept at making love as she had been at picking pockets, the latter a distressing habit he was having a hard time breaking her from. The dimensionally expanded tree had been a present from Clothahump, designed, she noted sardonically, to make sure Jon-Tom stayed close to his mentor. Clothahump wanted Jon-Tom close at hand in case he had any more potentially lethal errands to be run, but that hadn't been reason enough for her to turn the gift down. Clothahump's the world's greatest wizard. It's not my place to tell him how to behave. She yanked the heavy quilts back up to her neck. You need an excuse to stand up to him. Okay. Tell him that your sweet, demure little Talea badgered you unmercifully until you had no choice but to stumble over him. Pretty please ask him to shut his exalted self up. For the rest of the night, at least. As the greatest wizard in the world, I'm sure he can decapitate Sorble silently. And if it's a party, ask him why we weren't invited. She sat up abruptly. You do think that's all it is, don't you? He glanced back out the window. I don't know. Clothahump's almost 300 years old. He can make a lot of enemies in 300 years. I've never known him to be up this late. More breaking sounds drifted across the space between the trees. What if Sorble's life wasn't the one in danger? Leaving the window, he walked to the rear of the bedroom and opened the large carved armoire that stood there. In addition to clothes, boots, and other personal effects, it contained a small, seamless ramwood chest. He opened it and removed a curious double-stringed instrument from the padded interior. If you think there's trouble, said Talea, watching him, why don't you take your fighting staff instead? Jon-Tom cradled the duar against his chest, fiddled with the tuning fweeps. If it's a party, I'd look a pretty fool barging in with weapons. If Clothahump's just chasing Sorble, maybe I can calm him down. And if it's something else, I'll be better armed with this than the staff. Not with your voice. She slid down beneath the covers until only her eyes were visible. Her voice was muffled by the blankets. Hurry back. If you get them to shut up over there, maybe we can make a little noise of our own over here. Just stay like that. He was backing toward the doorway. Don't move a muscle, not an eyebrow. I'll be back before you can blink. She blinked, murmured teasingly. What, back already? He turned and walked fast for the parlor, wondering if he ought to take a lantern and as quickly deciding against it. He hadn't mastered any fire songs yet, and his precious supply of matches was down to 4. Besides, he didn't need any more light, not with the moon half full on a clear night. As he shut the tree door behind him, the chill night air scratched his throat. He bundled the robe's heavy collar up tight. Based on where the moon was pinned to the sky, he thought it was between 3 and 4 a.m., an uncivilized time to be awake, much less to be tramping through hibernating flowers clad only in furry slippers and a downy robe. He knew he cut an absurd figure in the moonlight, even though there were only small nocturnal flying lizards and phosphorescent branch crawlers present to observe his passage. As he neared the wizard's tree, he slowed to peer in the front window. The parlor was dark, which strongly suggested that Clothahump was not in a partying mood. The skylight, which looked down into the laboratory, was equally blank. Probably nothing more than the usual wizard-apprentice infighting, he groused silently. Here he'd roused himself out of a warm bed and away from a warm woman to find out that the combatants had retired for the evening immediately prior to his arrival. Might as well make a thorough job of it, he told himself, to placate Talea's suspicions, if nothing else. He made his way around to the back of the tree. A huge root, half the height of a man, emerged from the flank of the great oak to plunge at a gentle angle down into the earth. Set into the side of the root was a door which led not to a root cellar, but into the rear of the wizard's kitchen. The door was secured with a massive padlock. A few appropriate notes from his duar sufficed to spring the seal. The magic words the wizard employed would have taken less time, but Jon-Tom always had a hard time remembering them. Pulling the door aside, he peered inward. No light, but this time...